music lovers. It's your girl, Corina Avalos, your music and radio plug with Up in the Mix presents Heavy on the Honey. I'm so excited to sit down with an amazing media person here in Nashville. I've seen his content all over the place, especially with my friends, getting their music out there and being one of the biggest platforms here in town. Kyree Thomas, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the dope introduction.
Of course, a dope introduction for a dope person.
Thank you.
But I guess we've already discussed this. Might as well do it again. How's your day been?
It's been okay. I mean, this is the first thing that I've done today. I'm actually filming something later today at that spot. I'm just doing a live performance, and then I'm still working on getting like my studio stuff set up because I want to start basically offering studio time. So I'm gonna probably spend the second half of my day just doing that. But other than that, day's been fine. And after this, I think it's gonna be pretty busy. But I like staying busy. I don't like not doing anything. So
that's what I've gathered from everything you got going on.
You think so?
So yes. So you have the media platform, What's Sleep.
Right.
And in addition to that, you want to start, you said, doing studio time as in like recording?
Yeah. Basically just recording artists because it's just like a lot of people don't know this, but I started off like before I got like my first camera. I was actually making beats before. The last song that I ever produced it's two of them. Trapper Mandel is called Going Off and Remy Martin. That was back in 2016. But I kind of basically how I even got into What's Sleep, like I already knew artists because I used to make beats. But now it's like doing this media stuff, I've came across like so many artists and I don't make beats anymore. But it's just like, I might as well offer a service that I know everybody can use, it's trying to be more of an asset to the people I know. That's why I want to get into that. And plus every time I'm up at the studio, I'm always running into somebody. They're like, hey, I'm like, what you doing up there? Like, oh yeah, I'm just getting some studio time. And I ain't gonna say I'm just chilling, but I'm not doing it. I'm like, man, I need to start doing this. That's what made me come up with that. So.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you how you even ended up being in media.
Man, so basically, I had stopped making beats, got a camera, and I wanted to shoot music videos. But I didn't want to just shoot music videos. I wanted to figure out how to do something a little more with it. And at the time, Say Cheese was growing really heavy. This was like 2017. Say Cheese was growing at the time. I was watching a lot of Vlad. I've actually always watched a lot of just interviews on YouTube. I was watching a lot of Vlad. And there's a platform out of the Midwest, Detroit, it's like called For Show magazine. This guy named Joseph McFashion, he built that platform. So as I'm watching them grow, I'm like, man, I could just shoot music videos, but at that time, I didn't really know of any platforms that was just covering Nashville, and I didn't like that. So, I did my research for about a year or two before I was like, man, I want to do this myself. And I kind of just, I ain't gonna say I didn't know much because, I did a lot of watching from other people to kind of know what to do and what not to do. But I kind of just jumped into it and I've basically turned What's Sleep into what it is now. Okay, so from the outside looking in, it probably seemed like it grew quick, but honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it has. But when I do look back at like old screenshots from like 2020, around the time I started, it is crazy because you know how like Instagram it'll like show how many views you had over this 30 days. I remember in 2023, 48 or like 50,000. And I remember at the top of this year, it was like a number that was way, way more than that. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. But that just really told me that like keeping it consistent is important. And I always tell people that like with content and media and stuff, I always kind of explain like how you grow. It's kind of like a snowball at the top of a hill. Like at the beginning, like, yeah, it's going to start out small, but the more and more you go, the more consistent you are, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I feel like that's what it's basically turned into. But in my opinion, though, I don't think it's growing fast. I feel like I think it should be way bigger than what it is, but it's a few reasons for that. And one of the main reasons I think it's not as big as I think it should be is because I had to take like a year and a half, close to 2 years off from making content because of health. But that's a whole nother story though. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just listening to what you're saying, and from what I'm interpreting, you basically just dove right in and kind of saw what everybody else was doing and then made it your own.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't even really say what sleep is just something new. It's just something that would, at the time, it was basically a dead market. And I was like, I mean, I might as well bring what other people are doing and it's successful here, learn how to do it down here. And basically, yeah, it's because it's not nothing new. I mean, yeah, the name and logo and all that type of stuff is new. And it is a little bit different because what you call mainstream media platforms that cover Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and stuff like that. They cover Memphis, but they don't cover all these other areas that I do. I think that's what sets it apart.
Right.
So that I think that's the part that's different about it. But everything else, not really, because I mean, interviews are interviews, freestyles are freestyles. Like that's not nothing really new. But it's just the fact that it's being offered to people that from outside of what Middle Tennessee and East Tennessee that not too many people know. So I think that's what sets it apart, though.
So you noticing that there was a need for this in the market in Nashville
Right.
is what was like ignited that aha moment that to make it come to fruition.
Basically, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, look at you, smart, getting in before everybody else because obviously you're seeing more media outlets be born here, and so
Right.
like you're one of the OGs.
Yeah, that's funny because it's somebody from Chattanooga. His name is Cornell. He started a platform that's based out of Chattanooga. Man, he when I first talked to him and I was, tell him like I like your work, he was like, man, you like an OG. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, bro, that's crazy. If anybody looks at me like an OG, that's crazy because like I'm not that. I mean, I guess it's been around for a minute, but I'm not that. I ain't even 30 yet. So to somebody call me an OG, like that's crazy. It's just funny to hear, but I get it though.
Yeah. Well, you're very ambitious.
So thank you.
And I can see that, especially because I just found out how young you were. I was like, okay, wow. Oh, you're getting to work. And from what I've seen in your posts, you don't like drink or smoke or any of that stuff, correct?
So I'm not gonna say never because we all do partake in certain things from time to time. But if we just gonna be honest, when it comes to drinking, I just don't personally like how it makes me feel at the time, and I don't like the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that might be because I'm not a heavy drinker, but also I don't really like to get that satisfaction of, because I mean, I guess it can make you feel good, but I don't like feeling good when I know I haven't accomplished nothing. That's why I'm like, yeah, I don't want to drink. Like I feel good whenever I accomplish things. Like whenever like I do something, like I just bring up an example, like getting with Starlito, that was an accomplishment. So I feel good after that. I could have felt maybe good or better if I had like a nice drink or something like that. But I feel better whenever I'm accomplishing things. So that's why I don't partake in that. And as far as smoking, like just I don't I don't know if like YouTube will like flag you for saying this, so I'm gonna just say THC. When it comes to that, I went through chemotherapy, for a cancer treatment. And if we're being honest, the that helped me get through my treatment way more than a lot of the stuff that I was prescribed, if we being honest.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I partake in stuff like that. But and it goes back to that same thing. I don't like to feel good for basically not doing nothing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm a holistic person myself. I do believe the pharmaceuticals just puts a band-aid on it. It doesn't actually fix the issue.
Right.
And while THC might not actually fix it, it can alleviate.
Yeah,
like if you're
facts.
not, because chemo is very, very hard on your body.
Yeah.
So you don't eat. It could affect you with nausea. It might even affect your sleep pattern. But like I think THC can help, make that a little bit easier on you. And
For me, it helped all that. Like, not pain to a certain degree. When it came to like pain, then like yeah, I had to take maybe certain things that was prescribed. I don't want to say like exactly what it was, but I had to do that. But when it comes to nausea, vomiting, not being able to eat, like everything that you mentioned, that stuff helped with that. And like my oncologists, they knew that too, so they was okay with me taking that stuff.
Yeah.
So as long as it wasn't nothing from off the street.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know what they be putting in those edibles and stuff. So
honestly.
It'd be too strong too. And that's because people put way too much in there and they don't know. So
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
And everything's got extra, everything,
Mhm.
even the food. So
Yeah.
I can only imagine the street pharmacists
Yeah.
getting creative.
Yeah.
But
I'm good on that.
we don't have to get into it, but I figured I'd ask.
What's up? No, you can ask me anything. Like if
Um,
if it's relating to that, I'm comfortable talking about that because like I still do chemotherapy, but not to a certain degree. But like that's in the past now, so
yeah.
I'm not afraid to talk about that. Like it's not uncomfortable.
When you were first diagnosed,
Right.
what were you thinking? What were your thoughts?
See, this the thing. I feel like me telling you how I felt at the time, they might make you uncomfortable. But I'm gonna just be
Yeah.
real. So when it first happened, I'm not gonna lie. I only told one person at the time, but like during my first week of chemotherapy, I was really thinking to myself, like, my body is not gonna make it through this. I really used to feel like I was dying almost every day, but in the beginning, it was the worst because it was like my body was new to all that stuff. So honestly, I didn't think I was gonna make it, if we be just being completely honest. So like to just really even be doing stuff like this, like it's a blessing. Like these the smallest things that like might not be that big of a deal to people, like I appreciate it because if we just gonna be completely honest, sometimes I just be feeling like I'm not supposed to be here because just based off how I used to feel, how I used to look every day. But yeah, I ain't think I was gonna make it in the beginning, to be honest. And that's because I wasn't knowledgeable about cancer or chemotherapy or nothing like that. Like I've never known anybody to have it besides this one teacher that I had back in seventh grade, and it was one of our favorite teachers. I remember she had like she didn't come back the next year, and everybody was like, "What happened to her?" But basically, I guess she ended up passing from cancer in that short period of time. So, and I was thinking about that when I first got diagnosed. I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it because I'm young, like I'm not big. I didn't know if that had something to do with it. But I'm thinking like I don't know what my body can handle. Like I don't even smoke weed or drink like that. So how am I supposed to be? This is what I'm thinking. How am I supposed to be? Just taking all these drugs and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't think I was gonna make it really.
And so, were you able to at some point maybe switch into a positive mindset that like made you actually be able to get through it?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't know when that switch came. Like honestly, in the back of my mind, I had to always think like, man, it's gonna eventually be better. No, you know what? I actually have a video where I recorded a video of myself. It's crazy. Like I look back at it. I actually have it on my Instagram. I'm gonna have to show you. But I was just sitting on the couch, feeling so bad. I was out of breath, just struggling to talk, and like I literally told myself, I don't remember it verbatim, but I was just like, man, this is hard. It's frustrating. It sucks. All of the above. But you're gonna look back in some time and look back at this video and realize you made it through it. So in the back of my mind, I was kind of always being positive, but I don't even know what that switch was because honestly, I was always just thinking that like it was just hard the whole time. So, but in like I had a little bit of positivity,
Mm.
and that's mainly linked to the people I was around. A lot of the people on the internet that would reach out to me every day, the amount of people that would tell me how I inspired them, which I didn't even know that I inspired so many people. I didn't even know that many people knew me. But it was small things like that that helped me stay positive throughout that whole process.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't even imagine going through that at such a young age.
Yeah.
We're barely, we think we have all this time, because we're like, oh, when I'm an old head. But then life's,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, well, I gotta just roll with the punches. And look at you. You transmuted an experience that not a lot of people can maybe go through or won't go through. Maybe they will later in life, but at a young age and not telling anyone, doing it kind of on your own, but then eventually having a village, I think I mean, that just shows your resilience and you made it into something beautiful. You created this platform. And I actually, when you mentioned that you don't really like to drink or partake in stuff like that, because you're like, I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. I always say, when, you know, people, not that I'm God to judge anyone, but when I am celebrating, I want to have a reason.
Right,
Like when
right,
I am
same.
getting toe up from the flow up, what is the reason? You know, like
Right,
there's got to be something to celebrate. And it just can't be like, I always try to keep myself in check where it's like, don't make this a habit. This is
right,
like, this is a pleasure, but it's not a necessity.
right. Yeah, same. That's literally my same thing on that. So when I do drink, when I do drink, there's probably uh, maybe something good that I did to basically have that fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, same.
Did you celebrate when you had Starlito on?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't celebrate. Nah, I ain't.
That's amazing though. I
Yeah,
did see his performance on your channel. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool."
yeah, thank you. But no, I ain't accomplished. I didn't celebrate after that. Honestly, like that just told me that I guess like what the sky's the limit. Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit. Like, just don't limit yourself. I guess that's what that told me. But I still have content with him that I actually haven't dropped yet. I actually might finally drop it this week. I know it's gonna be this month
Mhm.
sometime, but I think this week. We actually have an interview that we're gonna drop. So, but I really don't like doing interviews like that, to
Mhm.
be honest. That's why I barely do them,
Mhm.
but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, and but with him, you're like, "That's the one." Like, I need to interview him.
Oh yeah, yeah, because man, I think I showed him. No, I don't think I showed him the message, but I ain't gonna lie, I reached out to him about a good 15, 20 times, like before in the past.
Mhm.
Like, hey, how can I get some content with you? So it's like it was definitely like an accomplishment
Mhm.
because I mean he's actually been my favorite rapper like for the longest.
Mhm.
And like I told him this like he's a lot of people's favorite rapper too. Like even
Yeah,
Big Top, that's his favorite rapper. Like a lot of people. So
little
to
baby.
Lil Baby, Kevin
Mhm.
Gates, like the list goes on.
Yeah,
So it's
he
just
is like Nashville royalty
yeah,
for sure.
that's how I look at it.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my goals to
For
get
real.
on the pod. Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
For real. Man, I so look, this is what I well no, I don't want to speak for him. No, I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to speak for him. But yeah, you can definitely make it happen. Just keep consistently putting out good content
Mhm.
and you can make it happen. It's
Yeah.
not I see now it's not impossible.
Hell yeah. Well, that's amazing. You've accomplished besides Starlito, you literally have helped people like myself that are looking for like local rising talent, even just people in the game.
Oh, for real?
Like to yeah, to see like who's popping off.
That's
So,
funny. That's
yeah, and
great
you've
though.
had Mud, which is like one of my
But
really good
oh yeah, yeah.
friends. I mean, that's one of his go-tos whenever he's gonna release something. He likes, connecting with you
For
and
real? Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's
no.
see, like just hearing all this, like that's I've heard these types of things before, but every time if I say for real, like I'm not just saying that. Like I really like it's crazy to me because I just like all of this just started with a Canon T5i, my old 2015 MacBook, and like this idea. So to like hear that like I'm a part of certain people's campaigns, like that's crazy to me. Like I'm just posting stuff on the internet for real.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to see what it's become though. But that's why I tell you though that like the sky's the limit. Like you
Mhm.
never know where this can take you. Like real
Yeah.
talk. So
And I
keep
think
doing it.
it's so easy for us when we're inside our own body to not give ourselves enough credit.
Yeah,
Because
facts.
not that we're comparing ourselves to anyone, but we're our toughest critics. So
Facts.
I'm sure that you have all these goals that you still want to accomplish and,
Hmm.
you know, you haven't done them yet.
Yeah.
But what's something that you would love to accomplish within the next year or even just 5 years?
Within the next year. So within this next year, I one of the main goals is to I want to hit 50,000 followers. Right now, like I'm not just including Instagram. It's sitting at around 35, 36,000, something like that. Like that's TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter/X and YouTube. So it's sitting at around 35,000. I think that I make good enough content consistently to hit 50,000.
Mhm.
That's one of my goals this year. My goal before was to finally hit 1 million views on YouTube, but
Mhm.
I accomplished that last year.
Mhm.
And I don't really look at views as like a goal too much because random videos take off.
Yeah.
But 5 year goal, I'm gonna keep it real. That's kind of hard to say, but I'm gonna try to give you like an idea. So back in 2021, I had released a song, like not me rapping, but we all know DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled doesn't rap, but he picks out the artists, he picks out the beats, and he basically orchestrates the song. That song is called Go Mode. It had SG Drill in it, my name Cushy, and yeah, and K9 Uno. Rest in peace to SG Drill and my name Cushy. Like that song, it'll forever just hit different to me because both of them they aren't here anymore. But basically, I just came to them with the idea that like, hey, look, I have this platform, which they knew about that, but I was like, look, let me get a verse from you. I'm gonna get a verse from somebody else and a verse from somebody else. And basically, I'm going to mix y'all's fan bases. I'm basically putting all of y'all on each other, and we're gonna put it on the platform that everybody knows and release the song. So over the next 5 years, I think at that point, I'm planning to do more of that, especially since I have the studio now, and I can get features from certain artists and certain beats. I'm gonna orchestrate more and more songs like that. Over the next 5 years, I feel like I should have two projects of doing things like that, and I think at least for 5 years, I think I need to have at least like three local hits that like songs that like everybody knows, doing stuff like that. I don't think that'd be too hard because I know I know all the producers. I feel like I know good music because I know good music. That's a whole nother story though. So I just know how to orchestrate a good song. So yeah, I need to have at least three local hits over the next 5 years. But when it comes to like views and like subscriber goals, honestly, I don't really have like a subscriber and view goal because I learned that like a lot of people will look at your content and like they won't follow, which is okay. But I don't like to put like a number on it because I run into people all the time that say like, "Man, I seen your content." Like I ran into two girls at the studio yesterday. They were one of the girls. She had already followed me. I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." And then the other girl was like, "Yeah, I'm from Louisiana, but I live here and I've seen your content before." I was like, "Damn, like that's dope. Like that's crazy." And if I don't get out, like I really don't get out. Like I'm on my computer or I'm at the studio most of the time. Like I literally don't get out like that. So when I hear things like that, it's dope to hear. It just shows how powerful the internet is. Though.
I have heard your name before,
For
like
real.
prior to What Sleep. I remember V8
V8.
because I would always go to the studio where you work out of.
Hmm.
And he would be like, Kyree. And I would be like, who is this? And then he's like, he's the guy that runs What Sleep. I'm like, oh. But you were faceless for a long time. And then when I finally met you, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so young. You're a baby.
That's funny.
But I didn't know what to expect. So
Yeah.
I think that's actually really cool to build something and nobody know who you are. They just know that you're running it for real.
That's funny. Now, like another thing too is I purposely like I don't want to be so how kind of like indirectly you will be the face of your platform because you're in front of the camera. If you look at a lot of the interviews, I don't think I've done an interview in like at least 3 years of me being on camera. I don't want to be the face of What Sleep, and the reason for that is because eventually I want to get to the point where like I'm having somebody do my interviews. I'm having somebody basically offloading off some of this work that I do so I can go on to the next venture. Like, yeah, like I guess you can say I'm good at blogging or whatever, but I mean, I'm not going to do it forever. I mean, I'm doing it all myself right now kind of cuz like I have to. But once it like makes enough money to the point where it's like, oh, okay, well I can just pay somebody to do this for me and do whatever. I'm gonna use my time to basically just build something else. And that's not to say like I'm gonna build something else like in music. Like there's no telling what that is. Like I just mean like different businesses. I don't want to just be in just music or media forever. Like it's my way in, I guess, to my first part of success, but it's not something I'm gonna do forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Well,
want to
it
be the
sounds like
face
you
of it.
had like a plan from the jump
Yeah,
and you're just following it,
basically.
executing it. And yeah, in the beginning, it's always just us doing all of it. So I feel you. But yeah, the on camera stuff, I was always, because I have a blog too. I wanted to remain faceless because I wanted to make the content speak for itself. But with blogging, a lot of people don't do online text. So at some point, I was, I came to the realization that people want to relate to a person.
Yeah, facts.
For like specifically for what I was doing, with like talking about music drops and whatnot in radio. And so coming from radio, I loved being on air because you get to be like a personality without like having to worry about your facial expressions. It took me a minute to come around with the on camera stuff because sometimes I am awkward.
You
And
think so? I mean,
yes.
you're not being like that to me.
Well,
I think you're doing a good job on camera. Let me just say that. My bad to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, but I mean, it took me a while because it's really just like something that you build up in your own head, Like
Yeah.
I was always just like, I'm so freaking weird. Like I make crazy facial expressions. I'm really animated. But then people would tell me like, no, but that's good.
Yeah.
Like that can, you have a personality and just like you're easy to talk to. So that's kind of what made me pivot to on camera, which is still new to me, but I'm learning. But yeah.
Yeah, so to the personality thing. So you know how like I'm kind of chill, kind of monotone or whatever. I had one guy tell me like, bro, it's so funny in your interviews, you probably don't even realize it, but when somebody say something, you be like, oh damn, for real. Like I guess people pick up on stuff like that. But yeah, like people like a lot of times you don't even realize it, but like I'm starting to realize it more and more. That's why I want to start being more on camera and I'm actually gonna start pushing like I'm gonna show you. I actually tell you about it off camera, but I'm starting to see how beneficial just being on camera and people knowing who is running whatever. Like people just, I don't know. I guess people just like to know a face to whatever it is. So,
Well, Gary Vee is a really good example of
oh
it,
yeah,
how he
facts.
built his media company. And everybody knows Gary because he's like super, in your face, very intelligent, articulate. But, he found his lane and it started off with him, going around to like garage sales and vlogging, going to find stuff and then flipping it.
What did he do? Well, that's what he did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
I
was
didn't
like
know that.
early, I think I want to say 2015-ish, 2014-ish. I remember
Dang,
seeing his content.
that's
And
crazy
then
that that's
now look
10
what
years
he
ago.
built, like
Yeah.
it's insane. Yeah. So I think that it's, parallel to what you want to do because it sounds like you want to build a media organization.
I mean, yeah, because like think of like just for example, what's a big example like Complex XXL? Like Complex, they had that thing where they had DJ Academics and I can't remember everybody else's name, but they had like four people on there and they had a show, stuff like that. That's kind of that's kind of what I want to work towards. Just
You
to
can do
get.
it. I
Yeah.
think you'd be so fun to work for and easy to work with.
You think so?
Yeah, but like it's also good to have a leader that has experience, is always learning because you don't want to work for someone that's so closed off. And since you're so young, you're still going to be in the know of trends, technology, and you strike me as someone that's always going to want to keep learning. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was actually looking like at all these books and stuff. Like I read books pretty often. I think you can never like not learn enough. You know, this is my first time talking about this on camera. Like just to get to your point, it's actually two skills that I want to learn that I will learn just sometime over the next, I don't know, at least before this next, I guess you can say before this decade is over. I want to learn how to cut hair because I think that's a skill that's like never gonna go away. You'll always have a job. I'm always at the barbershop. And I think I want to get my commercial driver's license because I mean that's like a good job. I ain't gonna say you'll always have a job, but I think it's gonna be a while before AI takes over something like that. So yeah, you can never not learn. I mean, there's no such thing as too much learning. Like, I'm always trying to learn something.
If you have any advice, just based off working with all the artists that you have worked with, what is an advice for them that you think is so important for them to do to break through or even just to grow?
Advice to artists.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I'm gonna say is like part of the reason why I really don't like doing interviews too much is because, well, first off, not everybody's as good as on camera, like as maybe you might be or I might be. You know, I've had situations where you know you turn on the camera and like the whole personality cuts off. I can't do nothing with this content. And I mean, I kind of still have to, but I think artists they need to learn how to start being themselves and open up more on camera. That's why I do a lot of interviews with the mayor guy. He's very personable on camera. He's not afraid to, talk about things.
Mhm.
And an example of an artist that is just being himself on camera was Code 3. Are you familiar with him?
Yes.
Yeah, he had one of my funniest interviews, and this is one clip where he talked about what his definition of a shit eater is, and that video has like close to 1 million views. It's so
Oh my
fucking funny.
gosh.
And then Big Top, he's actually real good on camera. Like he's actually one of my favorite artists to interview. Like we only have 2 official interviews, but we have plenty of vlogs. But he said that it comes from, back when he used to play basketball and he would get interviewed after the games. But he's very personable on camera, and in return it helps him get more fans. It makes people like me and you want to do more content with him. So it's just like a win-win. So my advice to them is to, when it comes to when you have a chance to be on somebody's platform, like don't be shy. And also, let me
I've
think.
actually have heard that amongst industry professionals,
For real.
that because everything's documented nowadays,
Yeah.
to be authentic
Mhm.
and to not be afraid to show who you truly are, because we're connecting to people now. We're not necessarily just connecting to a product, which is music.
Right.
So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like I can't remember where I read this or where I heard this, but I think it maybe just had been a post, but it had like a lot of interaction. They said that like the most popular musicians are really just influencers that make music for real, and like I can see that. For real, for real. Like a lot of rappers, they have a big following based off fashion. I personally think that some of the best music comes from unsigned artists, like for real. If I show you my replay right now, it's literally my Apple Music replay, even from like the last like 3 years. It's mainly unsigned artists. The main person that I listen to right now is probably Young Polo. That's somebody from Chattanooga. I think that unsigned artists, they make the best music. Like I think they make way better music than what's out on the mainstream, for real, for real. A lot of people would never know that though, because I understand like why they kind of don't want to give them like a chance. But me, since like I come across all these people, I see the difference. Like, and I basically got to the point where I damn near don't even listen to any mainstream for real.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for a minute though. That's actually part of the dang, I ain't even mentioned that. And that's part of the reason why I started the blog too. Because I can name so many people that like I've seen like in the music industry that basically started from, let's say, like 1,000 followers a long time ago. Now they at 100,000 now. Like I've seen that. So I think that I can see potential in people. Like I think I can like see the vision in people. That's part of the reason why like that led me into blogging too.
And I think that's also could be used in your favor when it comes to finding people to put on What's Sleep.
Yeah, no facts. Somebody that he just released a project and it's doing real good. He's from Chattanooga as well. Are you familiar with Hardaway 1K?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I first found out about him in 2018. I seen the potential a long time ago. So to see like his success as an artist, he's still growing, he's independent. It's not surprising to me. And I got plenty of stories of just people that like I seen like, dang, I can see him going somewhere, and now they're, what we call something or successful in the music industry.
Two people growing. He grew and you grew.
Yeah, low key. And I think well, I don't know how he feels, but he definitely helped me get a lot of people, a lot of following out there in that area, Chattanooga, Knoxville, in that area. Most definitely. I don't know how he feels, but literally just an interview clip of Young Concho from Knoxville. He said that him doing that song with C Bands, he's been had like a bigger fan base than C-Bands, but he literally said on camera doing that song with him helped him get way more of a following in Nashville, and C-Bands probably didn't even realize it. So I feel like it could probably be that same thing. So, since most of my following started in the beginning in Nashville, I think if a lot of people were listening to a Hardaway down in Nashville, it probably did start from me and him kind of doing the things that we were doing in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I personally have no doubt that from here to anywhere, you're going to expand farther than Nashville, farther than Tennessee. And I'm excited to see where you go. But I
Thank you.
genuinely appreciate you sharing everything that you have with me today. I know that you didn't have to open up about some of the private stuff that you went through. I am honored that you felt safe enough to, tell me about your journey. I know that it hasn't been easy. I have a good feeling that you're just getting started, and I'm excited to see where you go.
Yeah, thank you. And vice versa though. Like same thing.
Thank
Like
you.
I honestly like I see the potential in you too. So that's why I was like, of course I like when you remember the message I sent y'all, I was like I sounded excited because I was like I love to, come and do an interview with you. Like I like your platform. So
You heard that here, folks. Heavy on the Honey is getting love. Your girl, Corina Avalos, your music and radio plug, is happy to have got to sit down with What Sleeps creator, Kyree Thomas. Until next time.